Alright, hey, he's Meg here, and this is the after action review it's for two races, alright? I had two races this weekend for the May 20th, 2023 Glen County Motocross race here, alright, and the Mazzotta Cottonwood Classic the day after, right? That was May 21st, alright, 2023. Alright, and I had a total of 3 races this weekend, alright? Hazemega is getting us racing in. Normally, Hazemega really only does like 1 or 2 races, and this was dirt bike races, alright? So that's why we got the novice on there. But I did take my street tires, alright? And that'll come into play for the Sunday racing, okay? So, what was supposed to happen? We were supposed to go race at the Glen County Motocross, Glen County Fair Motocross, alright? That was in Orland, California, and then the plan was to head up to Mazzotta's Motocamp and race at his Cottonwood Classic championship. Alright, I had missed the first one a few weeks back because I raced in the Virginia City Grand Prix. So, yeah, so that's the scoop. But yeah, I always wanted to go there and try his new track out. He has like a new flat track out there, and boy was it a lot of fun. All right, so let's get to it. All right, so that's what was supposed to happen. All right, so this is what really happened. All right, so we took the Soran Lightbee down to Orland, California for the Glen County Fair, and McAllister Motorsports was it was McAllister Motorsports and Mazzotta Motocamp. They were hosting a race at the Glen County Fairgrounds, alright? So what they had, so this is what happened. We just kind of just showed up, alright? I didn't even know where to go. I just exited. I went to go look for the fair, alright? I'm kind of sad I didn't get to go to the fair. I kind of did want to go, but like it's like I had all this motorcycle crap, and we were going to go racing, so yeah, we were just focused on racing, all right? Would have been nice to go to the fair and just, have some fun, right? Eat some food, cotton candy or something, all right? But yeah, so on the back side of the fair was where the motorcycle races are, and they had I believe it's a sprint oval is what it was, all right? It's kind of like looks like kind of like Mad Max Coliseum type thing, right? It's a little overgrown. There's some like grass and stuff in there, but it was a sprint car oval is what it was, all right? And they converted it to a kind of what they called it, a super motocross scramble race, all right? So, and that's pretty much it's like a mini motocross race is what it was. There's no really big jumps or tabletops or whoop-de-doos and stuff. It was, the stuff that Hazemega is very familiar with, mini motocross. All right, it's a little bit of it's a little bit of combination of like dirt track, all right, dirt track, flat track, and motocross, all right, and like mini motocross, all right, and the dirt was kind of churned up and stuff, all right. It wasn't super smooth, but it wasn't super choppy either, so. Mini motocross stuff. What can I say? Okay, so yeah, they set up a course out there. It's an interesting thing about this race is it's at night, alright? The races were supposed to start at 6 o'clock, alright? The races started at 6 o'clock, so I got there just shy of 3 p.m., alright? 1500 for you military time folks. And that's about when they were going to start the racing, alright? So Hazemega had signed up for 2 races, all right. So these are the same guys that put the Santa Rosa indoor flat track racing event, all right, the short track racing, and so they had pretty much the same classes almost, all right. They had and what this was is supposed to be like entertainment for the people at the fair and stuff, all right. So we had a fair amount of people show up and watch us race. It was actually pretty cool. I really dug it, man. There was I'll give some spoilers here, guys, that when we were racing they had people cheering us on and everything. It was pretty dope. We had quite the gallery is what I'm gonna say. I would say there had to be like at least 50 people there watching us race. It was pretty cool, and yeah, it was a good time. That's what I want to say. Okay, so Hayes Mega signed up for 2 races that day. I signed up for the 100 to 140 adult, or I think it was just 100 to 140. All right, and then there was the Mad Dog race. All right, that's the money race. All right, and that's only for so the 100 to 140 was like an air cooled. No, it's not air cooled, but it's a mini bike race. All right, so any bikes from 100 to 140 cc could race in that. And then there was the Mad Dog race. So I raced in the Mad Dog in the short track race, all right, and it's a money race, all right. So you can win some money with mini bikes. It's pretty cool. So if you win, if you place in the top 3, you know, you can win. I think it was $250, and then I think like $100 and then $50 or something. So those are the 2 races that. Oh yeah, and the Mad Dog. So Mad Dog is, I think it had to be like an air cooled. Yeah, it had to be like an air cooled bike, an air cooled mini bike or something. So and Hayes Mega race electric bike, so I can race pretty much any race I want. Okay, that's the scoop. All right. So I signed up for the Mad Dog again. I think it's fair. My bike is comparable to those bikes in that class, all right? So 100, 140, and Mad Dog. Those are the 2 races I raced. All right, so we had practice, and yeah, I've got the knobbies on and everything. It's a pretty dope track. There's some bank turns, there's a long straightaway, another bank turn, and a series of like quick kind of turns, like hairpins and stuff. It was kind of scary. If you didn't lean the bike enough, we wouldn't be able to get through the corners very well. All right, yeah. So that's where the flat track stuff comes in. After you get away from the bank stuff, there's a series of turns that are flat pretty much, and so there's no berm, so you can't like motocross, you know, bounce off of them and stuff. You have to like flat track around it. Okay. It's kind of a little bit supermoto-y, so I want to say, all right, but it was all dirt, okay. There was 3 or 4 jumps, okay, and they're really small, probably 2 feet high, 2 maybe 3 feet, all right, and they're just there to slow. They're like big speed bumps, is what they are, okay. Yeah, so I got my first practice. I think I got 3 practices in. We used 1 battery for, yeah, basically 1 practice we used 1 battery, and then I swapped the batteries again. We use it for the other one. Temperatures, it's kind of hot, like 90, 95 degrees, all right, close to 100 degrees. Stuff you kind of don't want to be racing electric bike in. So let's say, all right, I tell you this, the Komodo stuff, all right, can handle the heat, all right. The motor and the controller are freaking awesome, man. I have not gotten these things to overheat in a race, okay? Yeah, not yet. They're freaking incredible. The one thing that you do have to worry about now is the battery, all right? I don't have the battery in there right now, as you can see. But I had 2 batteries, so that's where I have 2 batteries, you know. When one gets hot, you can swap it out for another one, let the other one cool down. So it's a really advantageous to be able to swap battery packs, okay? Hayes Mega is thinking if I'm going to build a electric dirt bike from a regular motorcycle, if I can modify it to fit a Sauron battery, I might just buy a 3rd battery, okay? And then yeah, I've got a pretty good platform. I can use the batteries with 2 different bikes, you know. 3 batteries is too much to have, but if I'm sharing 3 batteries among like 2 bikes, then yeah. Okay. Yeah, so and then so I get all the we do all the practices. I got about 3 in. Each practice is about like, I don't know, like 5 minutes or something. The track is about, I don't know, it's like a 1/4 mile track or something. It's not super duper long. All right, but it was tough. All right, it was tough to race with. There was a lot of turns. So I'd say there's a lot of turns. There's not that many opportunity to go super duper fast. All right. especially on the straight. On the straight, they had this kind of like this little jump, this little kicker jump, man. And so you would just fly off of that thing, and you would go like 10 feet out. All right, but it wasn't very tall.
That much power, guys.
Yeah. So I was trying out some new suspension settings. All right, I've actually looked in the manual for the Dorado fork, and I tuned it for mixed riding. All right, kind of like a mix in between, and I felt like I was bottoming out the front a whole lot. All right, but I didn't change anything. All right, but for the most part, it handled pretty good. But yeah, I think if you're going to do some kind of jumps and stuff, you should stiffen up the high-speed compression a little bit. So it hits a little harder, you know, and it doesn't bottom out as much. But because I felt I was bottoming out, it would bottom, it would go boing, it would just kind of bounce, you know, not good. Especially those jumps weren't very big, man. There were just these little weeny jumps, man, and we're bottoming out the front. I felt the front was bottoming out. I don't know about the rear. The rear was doing okay. So the race comes along, all right. It's 6 o'clock. It's race time, baby. It's not dark. It's not quite dark yet, all right, but it's getting much cooler. Racing at night is awesome because it's cool. I like racing when it's cooled out, when it's hot, all right, guys. So yeah, it had cooled down probably like 10 degrees by then, and so I raced in the 100 to 140 heat race, all right, and then so here's what happens. Boom, flag goes up, and we all go. And oh yeah, okay. So these are who I'm racing against. I'm racing against Dean Rabideau in XR100, and Arturo. I forget what his Arturo G. Right? I know his last name starts with a G. And he's racing a stock KLX 140L. Okay, pretty much the same bike that Hayes Mega has. All right. So my other mini bike that I own is a KLX 140L. I was like, oh yeah, I got this, man. And I know this thing is a lot faster than the KLX 140L, a stock one, all right. A modified one is probably just as fast as the YB, is what I'll say. Okay, and boy, could that guy ride that bike. So I'll say, all right. So here's what happens, all right. So I think I don't remember. I think I was I lined up second. It doesn't really matter. You're just right next to him. There's only 3 racers in this class, unfortunately. But the flag goes up, boom, all right, and then we take off, and I'm already in the back, all right. I got hole shotted by both the KLX 140 and the XR100.
All right, here we go. Boom!
I'm not gonna lie, this is gonna be the theme for the whole weekend, man. I'm not gonna lie, this bike takes off slow as shit. Okay, this KO Moto controller, it just doesn't get up to speed. It doesn't ramp up the torque fast enough. It's not like the BAC controller, man. The BAC controller, maybe there's a way I can get it to do it, but I didn't want to mess with the bike because it was running good. Oh yeah. Okay, there's one thing I did do after practice, is I lowered the power of I lowered the controller power down, all right? I lowered it to like 180 because I felt like it was kind of too much power and I couldn't use it all. I was having to like milk the throttle a whole lot, and I felt I want to be able to open up that throttle a lot more and not have to worry about the tires spinning like crazy. So I went from, I think I was at 210 amps, all right? For motocross, generally I want a lot of power, all right? But I went from 210 DC amps to 180 DC amps, all right? And so I think that's about 15 kilowatts down to like 12 kilowatts. That's still a lot of power, guys. Okay? So yeah, first race, boom, all right? And then so Dean and the XR100 in front of me, and they are fast. They're just duking it out, man.
Oh, the course is nice right now.
I'm behind them, and then I think it's a 6-lap heat race, and I think around like 3 laps, they've already like pulled away from me. They're like almost like half a track away from me. They're just duking it out, and I'm in the back there, just riding along, all right? And then so that's the end of the race. I finished third again. All right. I finished third. Okay. But the cool thing is I got an interview. All right. They interviewed me at the end of the race, and they're asking me like, hey, you know, what kind of bike is this? It's an electric bike, and yeah, they asked me some questions and stuff. That was pretty cool because there was like a crowd out there, and yeah, it was pretty fun. So we'll see. Okay, and then so the next race is the Mad Dog Heat Race. All right, so the Mad Dog Heat Race is a 6-lap race for the money. All right, and so we had quite a few people show up to make some money. Is what I'm gonna say. I think it was there were 2 heat races. All right, there was a heat race A and a heat race B. Hades Mega was in heat race B. Okay, so we waited for heat race A to finish. All right, and then Hades Mega's turn to race heat race B, 6 laps. And I remember there was a guy on a pit bike there, and it was a KLX 110. All right, the KLX 110 pit bike. All right, not the most sophisticated machine in the world, but it is super popular machine. All right. Well, I saw this one had a BBR swing arm, aftermarket swing arm on it, and it had like a BBR head and stuff.
Man, that is a really modified KLX 110 there. It's got fast ace forks on it. It's got a BBR swing arm. That is a fast pit bike, guys. That
like
1C
right there. The whole bike was all done up. It looked like those bikes I raced with at the Grass Ranch MX last year, with the pro pit bike riders. Yeah, I think this guy was like a pro pit bike rider. Okay. It's your typical pit bike racer, guys. He's wearing the blue jeans and like tennis shoes and like a t-shirt and a helmet. All right, that's how they roll. Okay. and yeah, I immediately knew, oh, this guy, watch out for this guy. Okay, we line up and boom, we go, and still the bike is too slow, man. It ramps up too slow. It takes off. And then I'm like with the bikes for a little while, and then yeah, they're already gone, man. These bikes are fast. I think it was like there was a bunch of XR100s. Most of them were XR100s, and there was that KLX. Okay, and boom, we're off. And then I think I was behind the. Okay, I think I finished third. All right, I had to go bust out my phone to look at it. I finished third. I remember, oh yeah, so I think I was following that guy. His name was Chase Hill. Alright, that was his name. Chase Hill on the 1C bike. Alright, that's the KLX I was talking about. Alright, and so yes, this bike was fast. Alright, it was good. These modified pit bikes are no joke, man. They're really quick and they're teeny tiny. You can just throw them around. And he was a good rider. Alright, I could tell. He's no joke. Alright. And I think I was in second for quite a while. I was right behind him, I remember, and I was following him, but I could not catch him. All right, this guy was fast. And then I think.
Oh, I told you that guy with the pit bike is hella fast, man.
Okay, and then I got passed by some guy on the XR. Alright, yeah, I remember this guy, he was behind me for a while, and I don't know what it was. I heard him behind me for a while, and I just wanted to get him off my tail. And I've been doing this at Virginia City Grand Prix a couple weeks back. Okay, yeah, so this guy's just breathing down my neck, and yeah, so I let him pass, alright? So you're supposed to take the inside, so they don't take the inside, alright? Because that's the best line, right? Well, I had like a brain fart moment, and I opened up the inside, and then he took it, all right, and then I couldn't catch up to him. so yeah, it was all bad. Okay, yeah, so I round up third in that race, okay? And so the next race is the main event for the 100-140 race, okay? And it pretty much played out the same way. All I remember is in the beginning, Dean on the XR, he just destroys us. All right, he just destroys us on the XR100. He legit impressed me on the whole shot. Okay, he whole shotted us. Big.
These guys are so fast on the start, dude. It's crazy. Dean was so fast on that start.
It's the same thing, man. The bike doesn't accelerate very fast when you get on the throttle. It's not fast enough, man. It just ramps up so slow. I think that's what KO Moto did. They made it so like it doesn't accelerate right away. All right. Now for like riding on trails and stuff. All right. If I was doing like a hare scramble or stuff, that's fine, you know. But for motocross and you know, the type of racing that we're doing today, we need power right away. Once you twist that throttle, I need like a lot of power. All right. Yeah. But then again, it's kind of hard to think. All right. But once you're moving, it's okay. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So it's Arturo, and I think Arturo got in front of us too. All right. He got in front of us, and then. And it was just Dean and Arturo duking it out again. And then Hades Mega falls behind after a couple laps.
Come on, you gotta go faster, man.
Same thing as the first race, right? And then, but since there's only 3 of us, Hayes Mega got a trophy. Okay, they had a 3rd place trophy they gave to me. Honestly, I don't really like this. It's kind of like a participation trophy is what it is. There were only 3 riders, and well, I came in 3rd. Well, as long as, but you know, I showed up and I finished the race. I guess that's what a participation trophy is. All right. I would like to get a 1st place trophy, so you know, there's no disputing that you are number 1. Okay, but anyway, yeah, that's a 3rd place trophy for that race. All right, it was pretty cool. They handed it to me at the end of the race, and they interviewed Dean.
Woo! All right, I got some plastic. Nothing. Man, they're good.
And then, so I was gonna race in the Mad Dog race, and so Dean's bike had broken its timing chain, the XR100. So he wound up racing a Jeremy Colliner's 150R. All right, CRF 150R, very very fast bike. So the problem is this bike is water cooled, so technically he shouldn't be racing it in this race because it's only for air-cooled bikes. All right, this is an air-cooled bike. Okay. Oh, before the main event, all right, the main event for the Mad Dog, I was riding my bike around from the pits to get to the staging area, and I noticed like, hey, the back feels kind of weird. It kind of feels loose and clunky and stuff. And then, sure enough, I looked at the axle and I was like, the axle looks kind of loose. The nut, there's not too many threads coming out from the nut, is what I want to say. All right, and then, so I go back to my pit and I get my torque wrench out, and then and this is like right before the race. We're about ready to race almost, and I put the wrench on it and it moves really easy, and then I moved it by hand. I was like, oh shit, this shit is hella loose. I'm like, oh boy, that could have been disastrous is what I'm gonna say. The axle could have fallen off and my wheel could have fallen off. Yeah, so one of the problems with the Sur-On Light B, a stock Sur-On Light B, is that nut sucks, man. It doesn't bite very good and it comes off pretty easily, right? So all the races before and the practice like made it loose somehow, right? Maybe that, or I didn't torque it enough. Yeah, maybe I should torque it to something higher is what I want to say. But yeah, I went back and I torqued it, so we were good to go. All right, I think it's time to replace that nut, the nut for the axle. So that'll be on the improved section. Okay.
Oh my god, guys, I just found my axle loose. I was riding it, so I felt like the rear was kind of loose, and I just torqued it right now. So, and we're gonna go race right now. All right.
So this time they had 8 of us on the grid. All right, so 8 of us. Boom, we go. All right, all 8 of us. And I think I'm like somewhere in the middle or something.
See the berms.
And I think we were like, I think a couple other people passed me too, and I wound up 5th in that race. All right, so sorry, Hayes Vega, no money for you. I could have made like $50 if I at least got 3rd place, but no money, no trophy for the Mad Dog race, unfortunately. Okay, so that was that. That was that race. All right, and then. So what I did is I charged all the batteries, and we were going to head to Mazzotta Motocamp in Cottonwood, California. All right, it was just like it's like an hour. Yeah, it takes about an hour to get there from Orland. All right, yeah. So you got to go further north. All right, so I hung out at the fairgrounds for a while because they had power there. Okay, that's the good thing. It was great for racing electric bikes because they had power. There was like a power pole there with outlets and everything, and so I was able to charge my batteries after. So I did bring a generator, but I didn't need it. Okay, I was able to charge both of the batteries that night, and then there's I think I really only ate up like 25% on each battery, so we didn't really ride all that much. Okay, that's what I'm gonna say. And then I swapped the rear wheel out for my street tire. All right, not my racetrack tire, not the slicks, but my street tire, because I thought we're gonna be doing some flat track action at Mazzotta's. All right, so I wanted to get the whole flat track experience. All right. And then I asked Hawk, hey, so what tire should I run? I brought knobbies and I brought a street tire. What should I run? And he's all like, but I'd already swapped the rear wheel already. And then, but I asked him to get his advice, and he said, you know what? I would just run knobbies because if you're riding a mini bike, you're allowed to use knobbies on that track. But if you got a big bike, then no knobbies. All right, you have to use flat tracker tires or like a dual sport tire or something. Okay, and yeah, but I wanted to get that experience. But he was like, yeah, just run the knobby up front and then run a street tire in the rear and then see if you like it. All right, and then so yeah, so we head to Hawks, and I camped there the night. All right, and then the batteries are all charged and everything. I don't have to worry about that. Hawk was nice enough to let me use his power outlet. He has a power outlet on his ranch that's outside that I could use, and I used it to charge my RAV4. So, and it didn't even charge it the whole way until like the next day. It's this thing charges so slow for a 110 outlet. All right. Anyway, so I signed up for one race. All right, only one race this day. It was the 100 to 140 adult. All right, it's kind of similar to what we raced the other night. All right, but we're doing it here. They did have a youth race and then an adult race. All right, so they split them up. All right, and I think there was quite a few riders, 5 or 6 of us or something. Yeah, quite a bit. It was me, Brent. I raced Brent before. I raced Joe before. So I kind of know a lot of the people that we were racing, right? There's Arturo from last night. Yep, that guy that was really fast on the KLX 140. Oh, and sorry, I don't remember his name. He was this kid riding an XR 100. Oh, there was another guy, I don't know what his name was either. He was riding a TTR 125 with like flat tracker tires, all right? Or like a trials tire, sort of. Yeah, and so those were the bikes that I was racing against. TTR 125s. And XR 100s, and a KLX 140L. All right, there's the KLX 140 again.
All right, guys, here we go. Adult 100 140. We'll be racing a TTR 125, the legendary XR 100, another TTR 125, and the KLX 140. Another XR 100, and lots of XR 100s.
Right, yeah, it's pretty much the biggest bike that you could use in this class. And I think it had to be air cooled. Yeah. So no 150Rs. All right. which is good. Yeah, I hate those 150Rs, man. They're cheater bikes. All right, so yeah, so we got practice first. All right, so there you get one practice, one heat race, and one main race. All right, and it's a 6-8, just like we do in Supermoto and the race last night. All right, so the heat is 6 laps and the main is 8 laps. All right, so I do the practice with the street tire in the back, and I'm doing okay. So the track is flat, guys. There's a long straight, and then there's like kind of like a hairpin, so you got to slow down a lot. All right, it's a sweeping hairpin though. Yeah, it's a reducing radius. It's a reducing radius kind of hairpin type of deal. Okay, so it gets tighter as you go in. Yeah. Anyway, it's the first turn is like a reducing radius, and then there's a couple like kind of like tabletop type of things, or like berms that you got to go over. But there weren't any berms on the side, okay, and there weren't any grooves, so it's not a motocross track, guys. It's a flat track, or it's what they call a dirt track, okay. It's flat. It doesn't have berms, and it doesn't have ruts, all right, and it doesn't have monster jumps, all right. It's not like the motocross track we raced in last year. It's a totally new track, all right, and it was a lot of fun, all right. Once you get past that straightaway and the hairpin, it's time to get to work, guys. Yeah, so after the hairpin, there's another little straight, and then after that, yeah, it's like left, right, left, lots of turns, all right? And I had trouble getting the light bead through some of the turns.
Off the front.
And I didn't feel very confident with the running the street tire, all right, because it would spin up really fast if I had. But I jacked the power back up. I put the power back up to 15 kilowatts. All right, so I was like, for this race, I think we're gonna need that power. Okay, and yeah, okay, so that was practice. I wish I had been able to practice with the knobbies on there, but I made the decision, hey, let's put the knobbies on. So I put it on this guy again, and then we swapped the wheel out. I swapped the Supermoto wheel for the knobby wheel. Okay, so the heat race comes along, all right? We're doing the heat race, and I think I lined up on the very right, all right? Almost the very right. I liked it. Hayesmaker likes to line up at the end. All right, I don't like being on the inside. I like being on the outside. All right, that way, because I can get more speed, and I can, you know, take a better line. All right, I can take a wide apex. But yeah, if somebody beats you, if somebody's on the inside and they beat you to the first turn, then yeah, you got to slow down, or else you're gonna hit them. All right, so that's the way it works. All right, guys. But yeah, it's whoever can get the whole shot. All right. Well, guess who gets the whole shot, guys? Green flag goes up, and so it's just like yesterday. It's like freaking slow motion every freaking time. I twist the throttle. The bike goes. There's a little lag. I'm neck and neck with everybody else. All right, everybody got a pretty good launch. That's what I'm gonna say. And then my bike just takes off like a freaking rocket. Boom! All right, and I whole shot those suckers, man. Yeah, there wasn't any berm or anything, and it was a long straight in the beginning. So yeah, I just jet out in front of everyone, and I'm in front for a while. I get into the first corner. I'm number one still. I must have taken like 2 laps, and then Arturo passed me. not joking, man. This kid is good on this KLX 140. It makes me sad because like I know a stock KLX is like not really that fast a bike, but it is a very easy bike to ride. All right, that's what I want to say. But yeah, so me and Arturo were duking it out for a while, and then he kind of pulls away just a little bit, and I'm in second place, and there's dudes behind me breathing behind my neck, and I think, what was it? I think it was that dude with the flat tracker tires. He was right behind me, but I took all the good lines. I took all the inside lines, so they couldn't. They'd have to go around me to pass me, and then if they did try to go around me to pass me, I would just once we got to the straight, I would just lose them with that Suron KO Moto power. That's what I say. All right. Yeah. So the power of the Suron came in really handy. All right. And then so I was getting pretty good at getting the bike to slide with the rear brake. All right. If you guys don't remember, I had the ASI controller on this before, and it had the regen throttle, and I would use that to slide the bike around all the time. The good thing about the regen throttle is I can go really, really fast, and that regen throttle will slow the bike down really, really fast, and it'll lock the rear, so I can slide into a turn. And I had to learn how to do that with the mechanical brakes. All right, that's pretty much. And I got pretty good at it. Yeah, the rear brake worked pretty good on this bike. I'm pretty happy with the work we did on the brakes. All right, from the last race. That was one of the improves in the last race. The Hollister hair scramble. Yeah, from that race, I told myself, hey, you need to work on these brakes, man. You need to bleed them or something, and you need to clean them and do that kind of stuff because they're not biting hard enough. Right. Well, in this race, they bit just fine. All right, I was able to get that back sliding around, and I was able to do the flat track thing, man. I was dragging my feet, dragging the rear, and yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. Just like before. All right, basically, I figured out how to do it with the mechanical brakes. All right, which is good. All right, I would use the regen to slow down going into the fast corners. It would slow me down just right, and the back would move around a little bit. And oh yeah, and so we raced with the knobby this time. We had the knobby in the rear, and also this is a gummy tire. So this is actually a perfect tire, and it's kind of like halfway worn. It's worn pretty bad already. That's like the perfect tire for this track, right? It's soft. It's a soft kind of gooey. It's also knobby, all right? So it bites in pretty good. So I had really, really good traction with this. I could really get on it, and I don't have to worry about spinning too much, Really, it was a good idea to put the knobby on. So I knew that it was fun, okay? It was fun to ride it with the street tire because it would slide, and you could practice sliding the bike. And it's exactly what Hawk told me. Yeah, you would have fun with the street tire. However, if you want to win the race, you got to use a knobby Hades Vega because you get more grip, you get more traction. All right, so and that was absolutely true. All right, I felt more confident. I could push the bike harder. Right. Yeah, and after that heat race, I got enough time on that track where yeah, I got it. I know where all the lines are. Right, at least I think I knew where all the lines are. Right. So anyway, I finished second place in that race. I'm pretty. Give yourself a pat on the back, Hades Mega. That's really good. It would have been nice to get first place, but I'll take second place. All right, and people were legit they were legit impressed with the power of the KO Moto Suron. That's what I say. All right, yeah, this thing was fast, man. Once this thing gets going, it's like a freaking rocket, man. Nobody could touch it. Those XRs couldn't touch it on the straights, dude. All right, maybe they could. So another thing is the other bikes didn't have a whole lot of power, but sometimes having too much power is not a good. Sometimes having a lot of power is not a good thing. All right, guys, because you can have a lot of power and it's just really hard to control. For the XRs, they have gears and stuff, and they don't have a whole lot of power. They're just wide open throttle all the time. They're pushing that bike to the max all the time. Where this one, I have to I have to milk the throttle. We can't get on it too much, or else it'll slip too much. That type of thing. But they're riding their bike at the max, all right. And those XRs are no joke, man. You think a 100cc 4-stroke is not very fast, but man, with the right rider, man, It's a pretty awesome machine. I haven't ridden one yet. I should try to ride one sometime. But yeah, yeah, there was quite a few XRs, is what I'm saying. But KLX won the day, that's what I'm saying, all right? The KLX got first place, and I came in second place in the Suron. All right, so the main race comes along, and I'm not lying, man. It's hot as balls, man. It's about like 95, yeah, almost 95 degrees or something. And Hayes Mega's just like, I'm tired from the race the day before, and I'm old, man. Hayes Mega's old. I don't like being in the heat and everything. So I don't know. I just feel really tired. And I got no excuse. Arturo, the guy that got first place from the KLX, that was his third race. All right, he had raced 3 races back to back. That kid is a freaking animal. All right, and he won something in each of those races almost. All right, it's amazing. He rides a KX85 also, which is pretty much the same bike as the KLX, but it's a 2-stroke. Okay. Yeah, he was a really good rider. I was straight impressed with his riding. That's what I say, all right? And so, okay, the main race comes along, and they water the track, all right? They water the track the race before, so it's like swampy in certain places. And guess where the swampy areas are? It's in the lines that Hayes Omega was taking, for the main race. So Hayes Omega knows if it's shiny, don't ride over it, or if it's shiny, it's slippery. Okay, so be careful on it. And so yeah, I mean that really that made the race more difficult. I hate to say it, man. I hate it when they water the track because it changes the traction. It changes. It's like you're riding over landmines type of thing, right? You don't want to ride over the landmine, right? Type of thing. Yeah, that's how it is, all right? It's like an RC Pro-Am where they have the little wet spots, you hit it and you go spinning. Yeah, so kind of like that, okay? So anyway, I think I'm set. They grid me up second, right next to Arturo, all right? So like I'm in this sandwich now. Before I was all the way on the right. I kind of like that better. And there was like a lot of us. There was like 6 of us, so they tried to squeeze us in like sardines, it was really close. So green flag goes up, boom, all right? And we go, same story. No, actually this time I think the pack kind of pulls ahead just a little bit, and then the power kicks in, the KO Moto power kicks in, and I just like destroy them. But like there was this little gap. Okay, yeah. So there was this little gap. All right. So all the riders were getting in front of me. I'll add a clip of it. All right. Describe this. So everyone kind of just they get the jump on me. They're pulling away from me a little bit, and then the power kicks in, and there's this little gap, and I kind of wedge myself in there, and I just like shoot off in front of everybody. Now what they had told me, it was a pretty spectacular start. I just freaking creamed everybody again. I just whole shot at everybody again from the back. Okay. And what they said is like I did a wheelie or something. The wheel was up in the air, and I had I hit their handlebars and stuff. But they're like I think they said something about they were gonna black flag me for that or something. I was like, why? So we touched the handlebars. I mean, look at how close we are, man. That's rubbing is racing, right? It's not like I intentionally hit anybody or anything. I was just we were trying to get in front. So, but yeah, that's true. The most important, the most dangerous, I'm not going to say important, the most dangerous part of the race is the start, right? The start and going into the first corner, all right? Because everybody's together and they're trying to get up front, all right? And then that determines the positions for the rest of the race unless something happens or, some passing goes on. Yeah, that's like the most important part. The start of the race and the going into the first corner, right? That's the most dangerous, right? Because everyone is really close to each other, all right? So anyway, yeah. I get in front of everybody again, same story, and I think I was side by side with Arturo going into the first corner, and then I left him for a while, and then he was right behind me. I think I got the first lap I was in first place.
Oh, really greasy. Stay out
I think he got me on the second lap. He got me on the second or third lap, and then so Arturo's in front of me.
Oh! I messed up! Oh! Oh my! Woo! Oh, Joe! Come on, come on!
And yeah, so like I said, the wet spots, all right? I had to be really careful, and okay, I'm not gonna lie, it's probably not only my problem, everybody else has the same problem. Like, if they run over the mud, they're just gonna go sliding all over the place, and it was scary, man. Like, the bike would just kick out to the side, or the tires would just spin. Yeah, I remember the very last corner going into the straight, and that's the one you wanna, once you get your bike straightened out, you wanna just goose it, right, and just take off. Well, there's like a wet spot on the right side, and my tire went in it, and all I remember is I just feel and hear the tire just spinning like crazy, and I'm not going anywhere. It's just, but I'm holding the throttle open, and then finally it hooks up, and then we go,
Oh! Oh my God! I'm just spinning.
Yeah. So and then yeah, that was it for the. And then I wound up giving up 2 more positions, guys. I went from first to second to third, all right? So I think about Joe in the legendary XR100, all right? That's what I call it, the legendary XR. Me and Joe have raced a bunch of times at Hawk's Place, man. We always have a great time, man. And he rides this really old looking XR100. It's not the sweetest looking bike in the world, man, but he rides the piss out of it, all right? He rides it really well, man. And yeah, so Joe gets around me. So that's where the lower power bikes come into play, all right, is what I'm gonna say. If you got lower power and you're going over that wet stuff, you don't have to worry about the tires spinning and the bike getting all crazy as much, all right, as much as I do, because I have a lot of power, all right, and not a lot of traction, apparently, but you had to, what I was trying to do is just try to avoid all the water and the mud, but there was just all over the place, and it was in all the places that you wanted to ride in, man, and I had to just take a kind of wider line and go around everything. Yeah, all bad. I mean, I don't want to give any excuses. It was the same for everybody else, but okay. And then yeah, so Joe passed me. He passed me towards the end, and then so yeah, it's Joe, and then Arturo's in front. So I'm in third, and then so I'm still on the podium, guys. And then I think around the fourth or fifth lap. No, it's 8 laps, right? Yeah, probably around the 6th lap or something. Sharon, all right, Sharon Mowell, I think is her name. Sharon is a freaking badass racer. I'm not gonna lie, man. I watched her race last night, and I watched her race that same day, right? In different multiple classes, right? She's raced like a lot more classes than I do. She's a badass freaking dirt bike racer, is what I want to say. And she passes me on guess what? Hawk's XR100. She borrowed Hawk's XR100 to race in this race, and she passed me, and then I couldn't catch up with her the rest of the way. I think Brent on his TTR 125 was behind me after that, and he actually almost tried to pass me. I think we were like neck and neck, and then I think we touched bars. But then I took off, and he couldn't catch up to me, and it was already almost the end of the race. And so the end of that race, I finished 4th. All right, just booted off the podium by Sharon. That's what I say. All right, well, all I'm gonna say is hats off to those guys. They rode really well, and that was what was different since the last race. Is that, well, 1, it's 2 extra laps, and 3. But people said I was riding really good. A lot of people were really impressed with how I rode the Soron. They're like, "Wow, man, you were riding the piss out of that bike. You look really good out there." So, I was like, "Yeah, really?" I don't know. It was just me riding, But yeah, I felt really good out there. But yeah, I felt that the combination of like the mud and being in all the ideal spots that you wanted to ride in kind of messed me up. And yeah, I think I messed and I messed up in a couple places. But I think I rode pretty well. I did the best that I could, all right, and then they still got me, is what I want to say. But I had a lot of fun, all right. so I didn't win anything that day, or today, is what I'm gonna say. And I got this participation trophy from last night. So we didn't really not any real kind of podium finishes, is what I'm gonna say, all right. But all I can say is like I think you're already a winner, man. If you've entered these races, and there's 3 things, right? Did you have there's 3 things you should check off, you know, and you should count yourself a winner. You should give yourself a pat on the back, Hades Mega. 1, did you have fun? Yes, I did have fun. 2, did you get hurt? No, I didn't get hurt. I didn't have any crashes. Like, I kind of came close a couple times, but no real crashes, is what I want to say. I did kind of, we did kind of rub, yeah, we were kind of bar bashing a little bit. But, you know, that's fun, man. I'm not lying. Like they're like, oh yeah, man, they're touching each other, they're hitting each other and stuff, but like, we were having the adult mini class, man. I'm telling you, we have so much fun out there on those little. That's all it's about. It's about having fun, you know. And I had a lot of fun playing with those guys. We were like hooting and hollering at each other, like woohoo, let's go. Like whenever we'd pass each other, yeah, man, we were having a great time. That's what I love about these races. And then, did you break the bike? All right, no, we didn't break the bike. All right. So which leads me into the improves and the sustains and stuff, all right? So the bike performed really well, all right? This is what I thought about how the bike did, all right? KO Moto controller, KO Moto motor, all right? And the bike in general, all right? I think it did really good, all right? No hiccups. It ran all the time. It didn't skip or stall or anything. I think the firmware update, the latest firmware, they fixed it. They fixed the problem with, like, you know, when you go, it cuts out. All right. I've had a bunch of problems with this bike in the past, right? With this KO Moto factory controller and motor setup, where if I twist the throttle really fast, it just dies. All right, and then you have to restart it and go, and you've already got hole shotted. All right, everyone took off, and yeah, it's all bad. Okay, yeah, it's all bad, all right, is what I want to say. No bueno, and it's let me down time and time before. But I think after this latest update, they fixed that problem, and that's what Ian had told me at KO Tech, is that they were working on that. And well, thanks guys, like finally you guys fixed this freaking controller, and it doesn't die on me on takeoff anymore, all right. Yeah. Anyway, it ran really good the whole weekend, all right. However, I'm having this problem for it's always the freaking launches and the takeoffs, guys. The bike is slow as shit when I'm trying to take off in the beginning, all right. It doesn't ramp up the power fast enough, all right. I hate to say it, you know, with the BAC 4000. It had a hell of a lot more power on the takeoff, all right? I had to actually worry about keeping the front weighted, you know, trying to keep the front down, you know, and this wasn't doing it. I think the way KO Moto kind of programmed the controller with this newest update, all right, I think that's what they were going for. They were going for like a tame or a more gentler throttle, and then it ramps up after that, all right. So if you twist it all the way, if you get it 100% throttle and you're just stationary, it's gonna ramp up really slow and then go really hard, all right. And that was the case for every race I had this weekend, all right. It was really slow, and then it takes off like a rocket, all right. I needed to take off like a rocket from the start, all right. It's not doing me any favors for my drag racing, and it's not doing me any favors for motocross, all right, and dirt track. You need that power. I need that power off the line right away. Now, once I'm moving, that's a different thing, okay? If there was just like a launch control or something, all right, where like when you're moving when you're moving, when you're not moving, it'll give you all that power. So you got that whole shot power, you know. There's no whole shot power at all until like 1 second in there. Like 1 second's already too long, man. Everyone is already in front of me, and then it takes off, right? And I've lost the whole shot like a bunch of times, like in the race before. Luckily this time we had a good long straight in front of us to get into the first corner. It was like Supermoto, guys. That's kind of how a Supermoto race was like. That's what that Hawk's new track is like. It's a Supermoto track is what it is. All right. It's like if it's a kart track with like dirt instead of pavement. It's a whole lot of fun, man. But yeah, so I'm gonna see if I can program it. I didn't want to mess around with this stuff, but yeah, that's one of the things I gotta improve. I gotta do the setting so it takes off right away on takeoff. I can't have it like I'm not gonna lie. If I twist the throttle and it doesn't take off right away, it's pretty safe. The way they have it right now, it's very hard to get it to wheelie in the beginning, you know, but I need that power right away. So what I might do is jack up the phase current for the beginning also. All right, I've got everything jacked up, man. Like I hate to say it, when I had the BSC 4000, I had that controller dialed in really, really well. All right, other than like, yeah, it became a kind of unreliable later in life. Okay, later in its life, like, yeah, it you know, that poor thing died. Okay, but I really, you know, I'm trying to get this bike to where that it was before. All right, and it's being difficult with me. All right, but yeah, it ran flawlessly. All right, that's all I can say. Didn't skip a beat. All right, the batteries didn't overheat. I tried really carefully to keep the batteries from getting too hot. I was swapping them and stuff. I think having two batteries was great, all right, for this weekend. Yeah, I never ran out of charge or anything. These races weren't super duper long, okay? Not like those horse thief mile races, man. Oh man, dude. Oh, okay, yeah. Another problem is, sorry, I did not get the main race at Hawks, all right, at the on the dirt track course. I didn't get the last half of it, all right? I think I got about half of it, and my camera battery ran out of power. That's my bad, all right? I thought I changed I have two cameras, all right? I have two action cameras, and I told myself the night before, hey, you better switch the camera out because we've been using this one all night long. And then, and I thought I switched it, but I think what happened is I think I took the camera out and I forgot which one is which. And I put the one that I took out, I put it back in, all right? Because I know I had the other one ready to go and just to swap it, and I think I forgot. I took it out and I put it back in. I had like a brain fart moment, guys. Sorry. And so that cost me the footage for that last race, right? But I got the beginning half of it, all right, as I want to say, and then you have to watch me explain the rest of the race. I hate doing that, man. Yeah, so I had a lot of fun. It was a kind of two back-to-back race weekend. I'm pretty tired, and the bike looks kind of tired. It's all dirty again, guys. Yeah, I hate it when they water the track too much, is what I'm gonna say. I don't like it. I don't like it when they water the track and it's super swampy when you get on there, all right? And they want you to ride on it so you can chew it up and stuff. I wish they wouldn't water the track, guys. I wish they wouldn't water the track. I mean, yeah, it's nice. When the track is like super wet, it's no fun to ride on. I'll tell you that. It's like riding on glass, all right, or ice. But once it starts to dry and gets all churned up and stuff, it's actually perfect. That's not ideal, you know. But it takes like a race or two, a couple races for it to get like that. Okay, I would just prefer it just to be dusty. All right, I don't care if it's dry. At least if it's all dry, it's consistent, all right? But yeah, there's going to be wet spots here, wet spots there, like mud here. I don't like that, man. Okay, I hate it when they freaking water the track. I wish they just wouldn't do it. All right, I can understand for the big bikes. Yeah, the big bikes, they kick out a lot of dirt and dust and everything, and you want to keep that to a minimum. But for the little bikes, we don't need that, man. Well, but that's just the way they do it. That's motocross, guys. Okay, anyway, so yeah, that's the end of the AAR. Okay, make sure you're swapping the camera out properly, Hayes Mega. Or if I had just simply charged it the night before, I think I would have been fine. And the sad thing is, I caught it. The light blinks on my camera when the charge is getting low, I told myself, I thought that's weird. I thought I changed it, and then I forgot. All right, I forgot. Oh well, we should probably change it with the other camera or charge it or something, and I forgot. All right, and then sure enough, halfway into the race, it just cut out. I was like, ah, man, come on. Yep. Yeah, and also on the way here, on the way there, I had forgotten the camera bag. All right, I had all my cameras, my action cameras, and the camera I'm shooting this video, my vlogging camera with. Yeah, I left it in the garage. All right, it was on my DR650's handlebar, and I forgot it. I was already in Pleasanton. All right, it was already like 30 miles away. I had to turn around and come back. I lost like a whole hour doing that. Okay, so yeah. Okay, well, I gotta go unload everything, but I did get something this weekend. I got this guy, it's a little souvenir. All right, this is for getting third place in the 100 to 140 class race. Okay, and I had a whole lot of fun. It's always great to race at different places, man, and I get to meet a lot of cool people, interesting people. All right, and that's what I like. I like meeting people and racing with them. You know, I know a lot. I've been racing with some of these people like multiple times, and you know, I know them now. It's good. It's good chatting with them and hanging out with them. A whole lot of fun, and I think I wowed a lot of people. All right, I remember there was a lot of people cheering me on and the stands in the first race at night. Oh, that's the first time I raced a motocross race at night. All right. Oh yeah. You know, another thing I didn't mention is for that night race, the very last race that we did, the Mad Dog race, the visibility was really poor. It was really dark. Like they had these stadium lights and stuff. It still wasn't bright enough. I remember coming into some of the turns, and there would be I knew there was a berm there, but I was like, that's weird. I can't see the berm anymore. And I couldn't really see what was underneath me too well, so I just had to just kind of ride blind type of thing. So this is like, well, whatever, just twist that throttle and hopefully we stay up. Okay. Yeah, it was an interesting race, and it's interesting when you don't have very good visibility. All right, and it's cooler too, so it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice, but yeah, you can't see, and that's one thing I've noticed about me racing. Like I'm a very visual racer. You know, if I'm always like scanning what's in front of me, and if I can't see what's in front of me and I'm riding, it freaks me out. Okay, so a lot of people, they, you know, some people, they just, you know, whatever, you know, just do what you've been doing, and twist the throttle, and to a certain extent, I was doing that, but yeah, if I can't see where I'm going, it's not a good feeling. That's what I say. All right, okay. Well, I think it was a great weekend. Next weekend I will be racing in Reno for the Northern California Kart Club's Supermoto race, all right, at Desert Park Raceway. Should be fun. We're gonna get some Supermoto action in there, all right? Cool deal. Thanks for watching. Hayes Miguel. That's the end of the AR. Anyway, I wanted to point out that's racing, all right? Hayes Miguel got second place in the heat race and then like fourth place in the main race, all right? So yeah, that it happens, man. So that's why racing is so interesting. Anything could happen. All right.